Hello everyone and welcome. I firstly want to just say welcome to the new subscribers I've had recently. My name's Leonie and this is Big Girls Really Do Cry. I started this, I started as a blog, but it's basically about changing my life kind of thing, so hopefully you'll stick around and enjoy it. So today I wanted to talk about the fact that I had cooked. Yay! So I helped Laura a little bit last week and I bought the ingredients for basically I wanted something that was simple enough to do on my own, in terms of there wasn't a lot of different elements kind of thing, like in different areas of the kitchen, if you know what I mean. So I didn't need to fry something, oven cook something, whisk something, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So I asked for a few recipes and somebody I knew mentioned meatloaf, and I've always wanted to try meatloaf, but obviously it's not something that's, at least I don't think it's something that's as popular over here as I would assume it is in America, because unless it is now, because obviously, like I said, or like I haven't said, I can't remember if I did now mention that I haven't cooked for a long time. I know I haven't cooked in this house, and we've lived here 6 years this December, and it was probably a while before that. So yeah, I couldn't stand, when I was able to walk, which I'm not now, but when I was able, I couldn't stand for very long, and obviously when you're in pain you tend to avoid things, and I didn't really know about the equipment at the time of like chairs and things you could get, and it became a real struggle, although I always did love to cook. So I really wanted to cook something, and I got this recipe, and there was a few things in it that things I wouldn't like bell peppers, for instance. Not I've never really liked peppers, and there was brown sugar in it and a few other things. But so what I did was I took that recipe, took another recipe, and then added a bit of my own, so I kind of sort of tweaked it a little bit. Well, it wasn't really my own recipe, it was just like I put mushrooms in it, there wasn't mushrooms in it, and I made it with with roasted vegetables and a sour cream dip. I reduced that one. But so basically this is I wasn't able to video it because I had like a stand that I used to be able to put my phone on, which I thought that I'd be able to like point down towards what I was doing, only I'd snapped the end off. I have to say it was pretty cheap, so I can't really complain, but it was just at that moment. But I have got photograph evidence evidence anyway. So I will show you that. I'll also talk about the ingredients and everything, what I put in it and all that, so if anyone was interested in trying it, they could, I guess. And I hope you enjoy it. So I'll start first with the ingredients. So the ingredients, I'll start with the turkey meatloaf itself. Now obviously I did it with turkey thigh mince. You could do it with beef, pork, lamb, you could do it with corn, I would assume, and it wouldn't be an issue, but I chose turkey thigh mince at I can't even say it, turkey thigh mince at the time. So it was 1,000 grams of turkey thigh mince, 1 onion, which I chopped really fine because it was to go into the meatloaf, a quarter of a punnet of mushrooms, again chopped that really fine, a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of garlic powder. Yeah, I suppose you could use fresh and crush it, I'm not really sure, but I just went for that. And a tablespoon of Worcester sauce. You could add a little bit more if you like it. 2 eggs and 3/4 of a cup of rolled oats. Now you could also use breadcrumbs if you're not really keen on rolled oats. I basically mixed it all together, but I didn't over mix it because obviously you don't want to mush it in, if you know what I mean. So I mixed it all together, put a baking some, what's it called now, baking sheet, baking paper, parchment. So I put some parchment paper or greaseproof paper into, obviously it's usually done in a loaf tin, but for some reason I didn't have one, or I did have like a really small sort of mini thing, and I had like a tray bake tin, so I ended up using a Pyrex dish, but I don't suppose it really matters. And once I mixed it all up, I put it into there on the greaseproof, smoothed it out to the sides, and that was that done. Now before this I actually started by prepping the veg. I did that first. So in the roasted veg that I had, I put 4 potatoes, 4 parsnips, 4 carrots, 1 red onion. That was quite a large red onion. The rest of the mushrooms and salt and pepper. You could add whatever you like really. You could have the peppers in it, you could have the peppers in the meatloaf, you could substitute any of those if you didn't like them. You could have leek, you could have courgette, you could have whatever. I suppose it doesn't really matter. You could have them as well, you know, if it's what you like. I don't know if I said this, but I put salt and pepper over them and sprayed them with fry light. I think it was about 4 or 5 squirts of fry light. And then so that was that done. And then for the top of the so for the glaze or the sauce on the top, that was half a cup of tomato sauce, 2 tablespoons of honey, and 3 tablespoons of French mustard. Again, you could add a little bit more if you really like French mustard. You could have a bit more, add a bit more in, and put a little bit less tomato sauce in to make it a little bit less tomatoey, whichever. That was all put into a cup, stirred together, and then poured over the top of the meatloaf. And yeah, so I've got pictures of those ready for the oven, and I'll show you that now, hopefully. So you should have just seen the pictures, hopefully, and that will basically cover all of it. I was really chuffed because obviously I haven't cooked for a long time, and Laura, though she had to get, Laura's my daughter by the way, she had to get all of the things out of the cupboards in the fridge, and put them all away and also put the things into the oven and take them back out. The rest of it was done by me, and it was just nice to kind of like to be able to do that again. Do you know what I mean? It just really made my day, and I'm looking forward to making something else. It took quite a long while to cook. I did it on gas mark 5. It was on 180 Celsius or 180 C or whatever, but I have a gas cooker, and according Google, it came out just over 4. So I put it on 5 because I think my cookers can be quite low. You know what I mean. I know what I mean. Anyway, so I put it on gas mark 5, and it took about an hour and 40 minutes. The recipe said an hour and a half, but it took about an hour and 40 minutes. But I guess it's depending on whose oven, because they're all different and that kind of thing. And I had it with a reduced fat sour cream dip, which had come from Tesco's, and I enjoyed it. But you know, when like, I think just because it was like my first time cooking again, I just wanted it to be amazing, and it was nice. Don't get us wrong, it wasn't really nice, but I think what might have been nicer is if I'd made the beef version and not added the mushrooms and done it with steamed veg. So like done it with broccoli, collie, green beans, sweet potato, any sort of steamed veg really, and then not done the sauce on the top or the glaze, and then had it with gravy maybe. But I suppose that's another one I can do, you know. I just thought it would be like a different sort of way of having it, and it might make it more Sunday dinner-ish. I don't know, Sunday roast, whatever. But yeah, it was just really good to be able to do it, and I managed pretty well. It took us about 2 hours to prep everything, put it all together and all that. I think it took us about an hour and a half, 2 hours all together. I did crash the wheelchair into the sink, but we don't need to talk about that. Yeah, that was a bit it's a bit strange doing that. It was my own fault, and I do it all the time. So I was clearing the dishes up from where I was, and I moved over to where the sink is, and there's a gap under my sink, but it's just not quite wide enough, so I have to go in at an angle. So I went in at an angle, and what I should have done was to switch off the wheelchair, and I didn't, and I reached over to put the tap on, knocked because I'm right-handed, so the controls on the right side, and I reached over with my right hand to turn the tap on, and when I did, I knocked the control with my elbow and pushed and literally rammed the wheelchair into the sink, and have slightly bent the arm that the control's on. And it was slightly bent. It's actually not long ago been fixed, because it was slightly bent because the hoist decided it was going to pick me and the wheelchair up. Which yeah, as my sling had hooked underneath it, and I didn't notice it because my sling has like it's not all one panel. If you would assume, it sort of has like, it folds like that. So so one of them it hooked, literally hooked underneath, and hence bending it before. It's not as badly bent this time, but still. So yeah, so hopefully if I put all the pictures in and this makes some sort of sense, hopefully, and you can see what the end result looked like, and yeah, I think maybe next time I'll be able to do another one with a different meal and try actually recording it this time. Actually, how many times am I going to say actually? Speaking of things, oh man, I really don't have words. I really don't. I was going to say was, if anyone in the chat, not in the chat, what's wrong with you? Oh, Christ. So, if anyone has any recipes that I could do that are kind of similar in the sense of I can do all the prep, put it all together and stick it in the oven, that kind of thing. So it's like, I do have a slow cooker, so that is possible. But if you have any recipes for those, that would be great, because I would like to do things a bit more often, even if it's sort of like monthly, fortnightly even. That would be really cool. So yes, thank you very much to everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, oh, by the way, I'm not sure, right? This is my new camera, and I'm using the torchlight off my phone because I felt like it looked really dark, so I'll just, there. I don't know if that's okay. Yeah, actually it looks alright, doesn't it? I just felt like it kind of looked a bit blue, but maybe I don't. Maybe that's too bright. Maybe that's just oh, that's like, no, that's not working, is it? Anyway, I'm still waffling. So, like I said, if you can, please comment, like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye bye.